Good morning, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining this Zeno session. So, as the topic states, we're going to look at today how software-defined vehicles are transforming the automotive industry, and it is basically coming from us as a customers, and it is rolling on to our OEMs, tier ones, and impacting across the automotive ecosystem. So, as Zeno, we've been tracking this space, and maybe the first 10 minutes, I would just want to quickly run through in terms of what we are seeing in the industries in the software-defined space and why this is happening. What is that we are seeing that could be the impact for OEMs and tier ones in the industry. So to just get started, next slide. We at Zeno, we track automotive R&D spend across the top 1,000 spenders. What we have seen is, despite the pandemic, the growth has been phenomenal in terms of the engineering or R&D spend. And the major driving factor for that has been EV and software-defined vehicles, right? So we have seen OEMs, tier ones, a lot of these players are investing heavily in the R&D segment due to software-defined vehicles. So what we are seeing is the light blue color box that you see here, 38 billion that you see in 2021. This is the digital engineering spend, which is enabled by your software-defined vehicle spend and some of the case segments, the connected, autonomous, shared, and electric areas, right? So we are seeing this digital engineering spend is resilient despite the pandemic, and now it is booming. And even in a recession scenario, this is critical for the automotive players, and we see that this will continue. And we expect the digital engineering spend would be 1.8x by 2025. Now, moving on to the next slide, what we want to next slide, please. Yeah. So as we all know, the bulk of the spend is driven by some of the newer areas: connected, autonomous, sharing, electrification, right? In connected, what OEMs are trying to do, and all the enterprise automotive ecosystem is trying to do, is invest in various use cases, be it connecting to the cloud, or they are partnering with AWS, Azure type of stakeholders, and there is a lot of connected apps and spend that is happening. This is slightly more mature, and it has been there over the ages. In terms of autonomous, what we are seeing is, even though we won't get to an L5 autonomous driving by 2030, we are seeing a lot more scope for a L3, L4 autonomous driving, and currently it's L2, L3, lot of spend, lot of L4 autonomous spend we see. And we see a lot of the automotive players, not just software players, investing in shared mobility, fleet management, telematics type of use cases, and top OEMs are investing into this use case. Electrification, as we all know, is picking up and is accelerating in the market. And where I want to spend bulk of my time is on the next slide. So what is driving this change and what we are seeing in the market? As I said, the customers are looking for more software-oriented aspects, and that is becoming the differentiated in the car. Gone are the days the traditional powertrain and other aspects have been differentiators. So what we are seeing is because of the customers' shift that is happening. Now, next is the OEMs. When we see OEMs, what they are trying to do is they are looking for avenues to accelerate their revenues. In the left-hand side, if you see the chart, currently most of these OEMs have bulk of their revenues from IC engine vehicles, and very little from EV vehicles, and very little from the software-enabled revenues. In the future, what all the OEMs are targeting, some of the top OEMs are targeting, is trying to get more revenues without selling a new vehicle. So once the customer buys the vehicle, what are the various avenues through which they can generate revenues? So one, how can I make the features on a subscription basis? Can I make ADAS a subscription basis? They can turn it on, subscribe it for 1 month, and they can turn it off. So infotainment, how can I provide various features that on the infotainment, which is on a subscription basis? So lot of software enabled revenue streams, the clear focus areas for a lot of this OEMs. And because of that, what is happening is they are trying to decouple their hardware or the vehicle and the software. Let's take bigger players like Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz. What they're trying to do is across their vehicles, they are trying to have a same OS running across all vehicles. They're going the Tesla road across all their models, all their brands. They are trying to have same OS, same software running across the vehicles. So when so they are investing in their own in-house OS. They are building their own software team. Volkswagen Group is having Carrier, which is having currently 5,000 plus people, and they're hiring a lot of software engineers to build the entire major portions of the entire stack, or at least the consumer-facing portions, be it parking features or be it various digital software-enabled features, which can generate revenue streams for them. And they want to control the entire OS package or layer, not necessarily the middleware and the hardware portion of it, but they're trying to control the flow so that it is easier to make necessary changes. And they're also investing. If you look at the top 10 OEMs, 6 of them are investing in their own OS operating software, be it a VW.OS or an MB.OS, or a Toyota creating their own, or recently Stellantis. So we are seeing all these players starting to invest, and by 2023, 2024, 2025, we will see this hitting the market. And they're also looking at, on a cloud side, how we can monetize cloud specific offerings to store customers' data, the personalization of the vehicle. All these aspects, they are trying to put together cloud specific offerings as well. So this is what's happening at a broader level at OEMs, and they are putting together a lot of features on the application layer. With that said, now that this is happening, they need a lot of support from the ecosystem, even though they are trying to focus more on software versus the traditional hardware. Now we are seeing they are facing a lot of challenges in terms of hiring software talent versus meeting the pace that they're anticipating the growth. So we are seeing across the ecosystem now. If we see the tier ones, what we are seeing is they are helping them heavily on the manufacturing side, as well as more on the embedded side of things, firmware side of things, be it ADAS or across various applications. They are trying to shift their gears and support this OEMs. And what we are also seeing tier ones doing is they are focusing on new age EV players, where they are looking for time to market, accelerated time to market. We are seeing a lot of support from tier ones towards that segment as well. So overall, what we are seeing is the future of automotive segment would be more on software defined vehicles, and there is a clear focus and there is a clear need for software defined vehicles. And we are actually seeing a lot of organizations investing in their own in-house software organizations and taking this very seriously. And that's where we would hear from the various panelists today on what they are seeing as some software defined vehicle trends in the industry. With this, I would just thank the team for the opportunity, and I will hand it over to Natalia.